Tonight, I'd like to start off with last night, the opener, and your thoughts on the long extra inning game and the 3-2 final victory.
Well, yesterday we had we recapped the games. This is development. So when the guys came today, we talked about yesterday, and Badamo set a great tone yesterday. And then the three guys that came behind him, Valdez, Palsha, and Bumgardner, just kind of picked up off of his tone because all four pitchers were very aggressive. They pitched ahead of the count. And they were almost intimidating last night. And the fact that we had, three walks and 11 strikeouts, you get that kind of ratio. And we finally found a way to score, which was nice. For tonight, I tell you, I really earned a lot of respect for Gabby Almonte tonight because in extended, when you come here to Brooklyn, it's a different environment with the people and the lights and everything. And he came out pounding the zone, had two real good innings, and the third inning was kind of funky the way it started. I mean, Sienna, who is a very gifted infielder, got caught between hops, booted a routine ground ball. Alfredo Reyes would be the first one to tell you that the ball up the middle, he should have turned 2-1. Why he didn't, I don't know, but it snuck through. And then the next one was a good pitch and a little pop-up right behind third base that wasn't high enough for the shortstop to get this. I mean, all of a sudden it's like, boom, 3 runners on. And then they did square up a couple balls, and Jackson, he hurt us last night and he killed us tonight. Not only the home run, but the bases loaded double. But to Almonte's credit, he didn't give up. He got 3 quick outs after the damage was done. He wanted to stay in the game. We were a little thin on pitching because of last night. And then he put 2 zeros up. And he ended up getting Jackson on a double play ball the next time up. So I think all the pitchers learned a lot from just the professionalism, the way that Almonte went ahead and did his job. And then, Reyes, Montgomery, and Miss Sigmund all got their feet wet. They put zeros up. And I actually thought we had some decent at-bats tonight. The guys find out real quickly in this park that if you hit a ball in the air, it doesn't go anywhere. Sienna hit a ball that would normally be off the wall in the first inning, and the wind cut it in half. And Katsy hit a ball that on a normal night would have been out of the ballpark, and the wind cut it down. But the Yankees, they got clutch hits today. They swung the bats, and Jackson had a huge day. So it is what it is, and we go from there.
Talk about the Staten Island pitcher. What was he able to do so well tonight that you were able to see?
Well, he pounded the zone real. I like the way that the pace of the game was very quick tonight. We were in the 8th inning at like the 2-hour and 10-minute mark or something, which is a credit to pitching coaches like their pitchers to work fast, throw strikes, keep the ball down. Because when you do that, it keeps your defense on their toes. They know that they have a chance to be involved on every pitch, as opposed to a pitcher that works slow and that goes deep in the count, where even though you're trying, you're almost surprised on defense when the pitch is a strike. And I thought that their guy did it. He did a great job of pounding the zone. The defense made all the plays behind him, and the guy that came in at the end, this Morbon, I thought had real good stuff. I mean, he just went right after people with I don't know what his velocity was, but it sure looked impressive.
The one that almost hit Zach.
Yeah. Yeah. So they played a good game, but I like the way our guys went about their business tonight. That big 4th inning was too much. Third inning was too much to overcome.
How about prior to the season, we talked about Katz's return to the team.
Uh-huh.
How do you think he did? Has been doing the last 2 games offensively and defensively on the field?
Yeah, well, he's always been a good first baseman, and tonight he made a couple of real good backhand plays for us. Michael, coming off this surgery, it's been I think he's 10 months now post-surgery, so he's ahead of schedule. I wasn't expecting him to be able to break with us. I thought he'd still be rehabbing in Arizona, but he's a gamer. He worked real hard at accelerating his progress. He hasn't played any outfield yet, You know, because he did a good job in left field last year as well. But you know, tonight he puts a couple good swings on the ball. It's going to take Michael a while to get his timing because he missed a lot of spring training in comparison to these other guys that got their at bats every day. But I'm glad he's here. You know, he's a leader on the field in the clubhouse, and you know, it's nice. He's always a nice addition to the ball club.
You know, you've touched upon this before. It's very different playing here than any of the other places. You have the artificial turf. You have these 7,500 people in the stands. It's all the lights and everything. How do you prepare your team for that?
Well, that's a good question, and yeah, to tell you the truth, I kind of make a joke out of it, in the sense that because it is different here. I've always alluded to guys that go from extended spring training. You're practicing in the morning and playing a game at noon in front of 3 girlfriends and maybe somebody's parents are in town, and the coaches. That's it. So, you know, and then Brooklyn being the other extreme. But even any team in this league going from extended to it, it's a whole different animal playing night baseball in the atmosphere with people in the stands, and certainly, as you alluded to, whatever there was, 7,000-8,000 here tonight. So at the first meeting I have last year and this year, and I've always called it the quote sphincter factor unquote, and the players laugh, which is what I want them to do, because I said as soon as you get over the tightening up of your sphincter because you're aware of things that have nothing to do with baseball, well, the sooner you get through that, the sooner that you're going to allow your ability to come through and you can perform. Because in any sport, when you are tight, you can't possibly be expected to perform at your fullest because you're already, some people call it choking. I've tried to jokingly call it the sphincter factor to get people to laugh at and hope that when they feel tight with the lights and look around at the stadium, that they think of our clubhouse meeting and laugh about it. And because I go from that to saying the size of the plate is still the same. So whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, there's nothing different except what you're allowing your mind to focus on. Because when you get, there's no substitute for experience, but once you get experience, you're totally focused on the task at hand. And believe it or not, for people that haven't been in the arena, you're totally oblivious to, when I was the third base coach for the Cubs, they used to mic me on Saturday for Fox. And they were always trying to remind me before the game they say, we have to bleep you a lot because of the obscenities. Well, the problem was that the moment that the game starts, I'm so focused on the game and talking to the runner at third about situations, I'm totally unaware that I'm mic'd. And that's what happens when you get into it. But at first, everybody's in awe. And it's always been my contention at the big league level, that's part of the reason for September call-ups. That when a minor leaguer does great at AA or AAA and they bring him to the big leagues, that month of September, the few at-bats or innings that he gets gives him a chance to be aware of 50,000 people in Citi Field and I'm facing guys that I watched on TV and get through that so that the next spring he can actually show what he can do. Mm-hmm. And different people take there's a different period for how long that, some guys, it's one hitter and they're ready to go. Mm-hmm. And other guys, we have a pitcher, Christian Montgomery, he never got over it last year at Kingsport. He didn't give up a run in 2 months in extended spring, and in his first start at Kingsport last year, lasted an inning and a third and gave up 6 runs. And like 5 walks, and when I saw the stats, I couldn't even believe it. And then the pitching coach, Jonathan Hurst, told me when the lights went on and people were in the stands, he couldn't perform. And now tonight, that's why, I never like to see us get beat, but the plus, I'm always looking for the silver lining. To see Montgomery go in a game that was 8-3, it took the pressure off him, and that our Dave LaRoche's attitude to him was like, hey, you got everything to gain and nothing to lose. We're already behind. So have fun out there and have fun in the environment that you're going to pitch in. Well, to Monty's credit, he went out there and got him 1, 2, 3. So he's way ahead of the game in a much tougher environment than he was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's our job to bring him along to the point that he can go out there and protect a 4-2 lead and do the same thing. And that's the growth that we like to see in players.
That third inning, I think it was 6 or 7 guys got on before Dave went out there to talk to him. Was there a sense of let him figure it out for himself?
No, that's a good. You both asked good questions, and that was more a case of, we've only got so many pitchers, and so as long as Almonte's pitch limit was intact, which he was throwing nothing but strikes, he was going to be in the game, and he knew it. Everybody knew it on our team. Maybe the fans are wondering why somebody didn't get up, but we didn't have anybody to cover 6 more innings of that game because we're not allowed yet to throw guys on back-to-back days because they didn't do that yet down in Florida. And the other half of the equation was, as we talked before, the first 3 guys, he could have very easily had a 1-2-3 inning. I mean, none of the balls were hit hard. We just didn't make the plays. That's what got him into trouble in the first place. But then once it started to snowball and they did square up a couple balls, then Dave wanted to go out there to give him a breather and to kind of get refocused, as it were.
One more thing, it may get lost in the shuffle because of the 8 runs, but the 6 through 9 hitters were 0 for 14. Is that just the Yankee pitching? Then can go on to the next day. Is there something more?
Yeah, no, it's just we're gonna give everybody a chance to play. I've always there were a couple guys, 3 that ended up hitting in the bottom of the 9th that they knew that they're going to start tomorrow. And it's always been, when you do this for as many years as I have, you try to find a way. If I know I'm going to start a guy Sunday, you try to find a way to get him in the game the night before, regardless of what he does with the at bat. It gives him a chance to get the nervousness. And we didn't play under the lights down in Florida, so I mean, they want to do good in the at bat. In my mind, it's like a freebie. It's like, hey, whatever you do, I'm counting on it helping you for the first at bat tomorrow, And in Diehl's case, he came up and whacked one off the wall, which is good. And Calpay's going to start at third tomorrow, so it's nice to see him get an at bat and an inning in to get what we just talked about, that out of the way. And Hilario is going to catch Gibbons tomorrow, and he got to catch an inning and got it at bat. So I look at those as plus things, And they're also building blocks for me in bringing a team together. If everybody's sitting on the bench and you just have 9 guys playing every day, you don't really have a team. But once the guys start seeing that, I'm going to interact and make changes here and there, that keeps them more mentally in the game, and it helps to bring the team together as a team, as well as it promotes competition. If whether it's Pedro Perez or Brandon Calpay, we got a couple of guys that can play third. If somebody gets hot with the bat, it doesn't take a genius to see that, well, hey, I'm going to be back in there again tomorrow.
Now, what I mentioned before also, the artificial turf, it's one of the few artificial turf fields probably in all the minor leagues. Is out of necessity after Hurricane Sandy. Are there any concerns about player, that plays differently than any other place they're going to be playing, and players sometimes get hurt because of the artificial turf or anything? Is there any way you...
Yeah, well, our turf is so good. I, for one, think that the turf is real easy on your legs compared to, gosh, in the big leagues, Toronto and the old Metrodome. I mean, I used to come to the park early and run, and I would get shin splints, so I didn't run in those parks because it was much harder. So here it's a plus, but your point is well taken. We only got here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we had 3 days to practice for real, and we talked about the turf, and we've hit tons of ground balls to our guys because we wanted them to be aware you're not going to get any bad hops, but there's a lot of bounce in our turf. So unlike a traditional grass, we've told the guys, when in doubt, use your legs to come and get the ball and create the hop that you want. Because with the bounce in turf, if you let the ball play you and get caught between bounces, as Sienna did in that first ball of the 3rd inning, it's like a rubber-coated ball on the concrete that a lot of us played with as kids. That bounce is an explosive bounce, and you're not giving yourself any reaction time, and that's what happened. He knew right after the play, and this is just lack of experience on turf. even though we talked about it for 3 days and hit balls, he found out right away now firsthand, when in doubt, I got to come and get that ball and try to take it off the short hop, because he's got very good hands and he just didn't have enough time to react and the ball ate him up. You know, and by the same token, when we leave here and go to, say, Aberdeen or Batavia, we got to take a lot of ground balls and infield practice there, because now on regular grass, we're used to balls bouncing and now they start hugging the turf, you know, if the grass is thick. So yeah, there is a difference, and the players, you know, have to adjust to it. But you know, this is a great field; they all love it, and you know, that's part of what pro ball is about. You know, when they get to the big leagues, you're going to go to places that have turf, and you have to be aware of the adjustments and you know, react accordingly in your practice before the game.
In addition to the players that you were speaking of, are there going to be any other things that you're going to be working on during tomorrow's game against Staten Island at Staten Island?
No, because you know, tomorrow we got home so late last night with the 12 innings, and the players live a half hour from here. So I mean, you know, this is an early night, but by the time they shower and take a half hour van back to their hotels, I'm concerned this first day that they get their rest. So tomorrow we're leaving here at 1:15. We're going to go over there and hit in the cages, and just play the game at 4 o'clock. And then having the whole week at home, we'll get in a good week of early practice, regular practice, and the games this whole Monday through Friday that we're at home here. And that gives us 5 more days to really cement these guys together as a team, because I think what you, the press, and the fans aren't aware of is although we were in Florida, we had 115 players just all working out as a group, and the guys that came to Brooklyn weren't told, the players and the staff, we just found out last Saturday. So we literally had Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning, 3 days in Florida and 3 days here, and go get them. So we're looking forward to using, you know, the first couple weeks of the season, now that it's 30 guys, to kind of build a family, so to speak, and tie them all together, and for them to show us what they can do and determine their roles on the club, so that they know. Right now we're just pitching people, and we're kind of building blocks. You know, we found out last night that Paulsha definitely can be a back end of the bullpen guy for us, and you know, so we'll end up coming up with a setup man and a long man, and by their performances they'll dictate that the more that we get a chance to see it.